May the 20th, 2016. Guys, in the last few years, if you've watched my videos, we've talked about the Earth's magnetic shields, the magnetopoles. We've talked about CERN, and we've seen, as they were running at very high levels, that how the shield would collapse, and we've seen the shield compressed by massive solar flares and coronal mass ejections, things like that. So we paid very close attention to it, and I've noticed in many of the comments that people would say after I would do a video about we're going to have a coronal mass ejection, it's going to be compression on the Earth, watch for the earthquakes, things like that, that they would talk about that is why they were feeling so bad. Headaches or nausea or just didn't feel well, different things. Many of you have that are listening to this have made some of those comments and talked about it. So putting all that together, we've even talked about, it may have been one of the videos, guys, that of the 700 that were deleted during the hack. Every 2015 video was taken out. But I'm not sure, but we did one about the Schumann Resonance. And what the Schumann Resonance is there's a distance between the surface of the Earth and the ionosphere. Now, as that changes, the Earth's natural frequency, that is more or less picked up through the magnetic fields, is 7.8 hertz, very low frequency. You think about that, bass drums and things at 500 hertz. We're talking about 7.8 hertz, which is below the human audible range. And this is a frequency that has been known since the 1800s. Now they have ways to measure the magnetic fields, the Schumann resonance. We're going to talk about that. It's going to take a couple of different parts to get the information put together to make this video complete. But the Schumann resonance, again, 7.8 hertz, which is frequencies or frequency per second. You're dealing with 7.8 frequencies or cycles, per second. And that's what 7.8 hertz is. Now, that's the Earth's natural frequency. So when you have a compression event and the ionosphere is compressed, it changes the sound guide or the sound wave of the entire Earth because the distance is compressed or changed between the ionosphere and the surface of our planet, making it a tighter note. It will change that. So when you come away from the natural frequency, and we're going to get into that, guys, at 7.8, when something alters that, then you start having these ill feelings. Not only that, I'll do the links to some of these studies, but the scientific world has been studying it and looking into it very deeply. And it's not just you feel bad or headaches or things like that, guys. It goes much deeper than that, and that's what we're going to talk about. But they talk about what I want to do in here is looking at the research and how it encompasses a large variety of scientific data to gain new insights into the interconnectedness of human/animal health and behavior and the sun and Earth's magnetic activity. Guys, this is a very important scientific video series because it affects you directly, even down to prayer. So pay attention. It says the scientific community is just beginning to appreciate and understand the deeper level of how we are interconnected. We are getting closer to understanding why and how magnetic fields generated by the sun and Earth affect human health and behavior, and why it is important to know this. The idea that the Earth, Sun, and other planetary bodies influence human health and behavior, and on a larger scale, listen, social unrest and significant global events, has been discussed among scientists for decades. The study of this interconnectedness, which is not yet fully embraced in the mainstream scientific community, is still young. Now, they're using a multidisciplinary approach that includes the geosciences, astrophysics, as well as extensive data from human and animal studies that are correlated to social and global events. That's key, guys. That's noticing patterns and being able to put them together and put the pieces together. It says this Global Coherence Initiative employs the Global Coherence Monitoring System to collect a variety of data, information about Earth's magnetic field, and how it affects and is influenced by human emotions and behaviors. Now, did you see what they said? How it affects and is influenced by human emotions and behaviors. What they found, guys, is the human body itself has magnetic fields, not just one, but multiple, and that it's all tied together just the way we've talked about. All the magnetic fields are connected the same way you have coils in a transformer connected. The same principle on different scales, but all running at a frequency, if everything is stabilized, at 7.8 hertz, or the Schumann resonance, the perfect Schumann resonance. And guys, that's the basis and the low frequency for DNA construction, things like that. Think about it. Now, many of you have seen images of the daily Schumann resonant frequencies, and what they've done is, in this monitoring system, they're using state-of-the-art sensing technology to observe changes in the Earth's magnetic field. Eventually, there will be a dozen sensor sites worldwide, but as of 2015, the sensor sites are operating around the clock, and they're in these locations: Boulder Creek, California; Hafuf, Saudi Arabia; Alberta, Canada, where the fires are; in Biosagala, Lithuania; Northland region of New Zealand; and the KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa area. So you've got 6 monitoring systems now. And Boulder has always been one of the main ones for different things, GOES, watching the magnetopause. It says these sensors continuously monitor the resonant frequencies in Earth's magnetic field. The field is always there, but the frequencies inside that field can change. And it has to do with the compression of the ionosphere and the Schumann resonances. It says these instruments track changes in geomagnetic activity caused by solar storms, changes in solar wind speed, disruption of the Schumann resonance, and potentially the signature of major global events that have a strong emotional component. This is important. They're saying that it is well established that the resonant frequencies in the Earth's various magnetic fields directly overlap with those of the human brain, the cardiovascular, and autonomic nervous systems. So when you see any kind of interference in that, from either from the sun or from man-made things like CERN's magnetic field connected the way I've shown you in my videos to the Earth's magnetic fields, and we've seen those collapses, guys. Remember that back on, I think, around May 7th. It says, but therefore it should not be surprising that numerous physiological rhythms in humans and global collective behaviors are not only synchronized with solar and geomagnetic activity, but that disruptions in these fields can create adverse effects on human health and behavior. So that puts a whole new perspective in the game of changing the magnetic fields on Earth. It says when the Earth's magnetic field environment is disturbed, it can cause sleep disturbances, mental confusion, unusual lack of energy, or a feeling of being on edge or overwhelmed for no apparent reason. Says they use this system to conduct research on the mechanisms on how the Earth's various fields affect human physiological, mental, and emotional processes, health, and collective behavior. You notice the word collective behavior, guys? What they're talking about is, we talked about how the Earth's magnetic field comes in through the North Poles, out the South Poles, and that it's tied in with the Hall currents that are underground. We get the ground-based currents. All of this is connected. Now, what they're talking about is each person, which we mentioned, we have our own magnetic field, But when they talk about collective consciousness, they're saying at certain resonances that people can experience these things worldwide or as a group, even in small groups such as a church, when everyone's possibly singing or praying or listening to the word. And it's a very nice fellowship. That's an example. But that it's important to realize that some of the technology that we're seeing now can actually affect this unnaturally. And if they've proven that it can cause global unrest, things like that, then that control and that collapse and the change of these frequencies, guys, they could control a lot of the psychological effects on humans. It says they are using this research on how the Earth's various fields affect, again, the human physiological, mental, emotional processes, health, and collective behavior. We're all tied together. In addition, we hope they're saying to investigate whether changes in the Earth's magnetic field occur before natural catastrophes like earthquakes. Guys, maybe they've been watching the videos. Who knows? I'm going to link to their site. It's excellent. Their research is excellent. You've seen a lot of their information out of Boulder as we watch the magnetopause. But it's saying, again, they want to know whether it changes the Earth's changes in the Earth's magnetic field occurs before earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and human events such as social unrest and terrorist attacks. Well, I know, and I've shown it for years, that when you have compression from solar events on our Earth's magnetic field and our magnetopause, we have earthquakes. We have a lot of earthquakes. We have a lot of volcanoes behind that. But that compression event, not only magnetically is charged into the inner Earth, but the actual physical compression on our plates. But one of the things that they're looking at, and each day as they gather their data, they're proving more and more of their hypothesis. But on one, human and animal health, cognitive functions, emotions, and behavior are affected by solar, geomagnetic, and other Earth-related magnetic fields. CERN is an Earth-related magnetic field because it's inside Earth's magnetic field, not that it's Earth-born. It says the Earth's magnetic field is a carrier of biologically relevant information that connects all living systems. Some say it's the God frequency, because that's where, in that frequency, if they're trying to recreate DNA from some of this magnetic information, it has to be at that low frequency of 7.8 cycles per second.